Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. We're doing something we've never done before. Is we're rediscussing an album. Today, it was 30 years ago that I walked into Record Giant in Fredonia, New York, and I saw the new Madonna album for the first time. That was before computers, really. So you never knew what an album cover looked like until you walked into the store. So I walked into the store and I saw this. And I was like immediately taken aback, because that's not what you expect to see when you have a new Madonna album coming after Like a Virgin and True Blue and Like a Prayer, Breathless. And then you have this. So, we already did a podcast about this album, but there has been requests to do another discussion for this album. So we're just going to give it another go around in honor of the anniversary. And just to dig a little bit deeper than we did the first time into the track by track, we have two of the all-stars from the Madonna panel. We've kind of disassembled the Madonna panel, but we're making little special guest appearances. Everyone loved our Finally Enough Love surprise podcast. So we're back here to discuss Erotica a little bit more, with a little bit more heart and a little bit more in depth. So before we jump into it, David was here for the first discussion. Sharon was not. So David, do you have anything to say as we lead into this re-discussion, re-examination of Erotica?
I'm missing Anne.
We did. My friend Ann Fearman was on the original podcast, and as you all remember, she is not a Madonna fan. But I thought that was very on brand for Erotica, the album and the era, to have some controversy and to have a little, what's the word? Vitriol. What's that word?
Vitriol. Yeah.
To have a little vitriol. It was very on brand.
She represented the people back in 1992 that were just hating so much.
She sure did.
It was fine.
It was wonderful. Sharon, welcome. You jumped on with us, starting with Ray of Light, and then worked your way onward. Yep. It's nice to have you here for the Erotica discussion, because this was such an important album to my youth and to my coming of age that I'm glad to have you here to give it another go round. What would you like to add?
Yeah, and I think this is actually a really interesting conversation for me to have as well, because so a little bit of backstory, which I think is funny. So Ann Fearman was your gay girlfriend, if I'm not mistaken. So sorry, I'm using that term as a joke. So it was your friend in high school, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So she was to you as Jeffrey was to me in high school, which is to say, like, the person that I spent all my time with. Platonically, but and so I'm kind of like the Ann Fearman to Jeffrey, and so I like, really, my memories of Erotica are very much because of my relationship with Jeffrey Dicker,
right?
And the interesting thing for me and my journey with Erotica, the record, is and as the folks here on the podcast know, like, I've listened like religiously to all of the records, even I'm Breathless, which is a little shocking to me in retrospect. But coming into this record, I really struggled, and I think a lot of people did. Particularly, I'll just be honest, like cis white girls in that era, I think did. And so it's interesting for me to kind of come back to this record as an adult woman, and kind of like re-examine and re-explore it. And I think I've really enjoyed it, on this 30th anniversary. And like, I appreciate it so much more now, and with so much more fullness, because it doesn't come to me with the baggage that it did. And I really feel like, like, we really have to hand it to Madonna for having the guts to blow open so many doors with this record, and to be so, like, because like from a even just from a sonic standpoint, it was such a departure from the music that she had been making prior to this, and then certainly from a lyrical and a content standpoint, it's so, in some ways, aggressive and raw, and like, that's like, it takes a lot of guts, particularly when you're a successful artist,
right?
And and it's like, I think she has historically taken so many chances in her career, like time and time again. And it's easy for us to sort of like hindsight quarterback that and be like, man, she's known for all of the risks that she took. But man, she really, like, this was the first in my, like, correct me if I'm wrong, friends, but like, this was one of the biggest risks that she had taken to date in her career, was
Absolutely.
right here.
We can, of course, it came out with the sex book and then Body of Evidence shortly after. But I think, we're examining this as a body of musical work. So, taking away the sex book, I don't even think we need to talk about it. I don't even think we need to talk about anything but the music. Even the music itself was a risk because Madonna was the top female, and we don't even need to throw gender in there. She was one of the top pop performers at the time. Who was she alongside at that time? Whitney Houston. Mariah was coming out. You still had Michael there. Prince was still kicking around in the top of the charts. George Michael he was still doing the thing. So she was in the top, the creme de la creme of the pop artists. And this is a very, I don't know if lo-fi is the right word, but my first initial reaction when I listened to Erotica was like, where's the hooks? Like this doesn't have the big bridges and the big choruses that you've grown accustomed to with the first series of Madonna albums. It definitely has a much more underground vibe. I guess, I don't know if lo-fi is the right word, but it's raw.
Gritty.
It's gritty.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because some demos did more recently come out that were a little bit more poppy. And I was like, now this is the Madonna we know. But in retrospect, I'm glad she didn't put those on the album.
Redo, because these oh my God, these unreleased tracks are just all over the place, and I live for them.
Yeah, I think they're great.
I was listening to them today. I was listening to Shame. I was listening to You're the One. Of course, I listened to Goodbye to Innocence and Up and Down religiously since '93. So it's a no play on that one. And of course, You Thrill Me.
Sure. So, I'm glad. I think Madonna made all the right choices by not putting the really fluffier, poppier stuff on there. Like some of those demos were excellent, but I don't think they would have sounded out of place like on a Kathy Dennis album. Much love to Kathy. I love Kathy, but she did that 90s house with a great pop hook perfectly. Madonna gave us something different on Erotica. So, Shep Pettibone.
What song would you replace to put in some of those?
None.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Let me tell you, we listened to it when we were in our teens. So this is like when you listen to stuff, it affects you, and then you listen to it again. Like, I've been bumping a Bye Bye Baby, and I was not bumping to it 30 years ago. So it's like some of these songs, they hit different when you age.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. That one in particular, but we can get there when we do the track by track.
Yes, exactly.
And I know I talked about this on the original podcast, but just for a little historical context, I guess I would have been a junior in high school, I believe, when this came. No, I would have been in my senior year, going into my senior year. So it was the early 90s, 92. Sexuality wasn't as talked about as it is now. So at the time, I believed that I was bisexual. And our friend Ann Fearman from the other podcast would always say, "Bye now, gay later." And that was kind of right when it came to boys back then. I'm sure that's not politically correct to say, but all the boys that were bi turned out to be gay. Most of the girls that were bi turned out to be straight. Back then, that's the truth. I'm sorry.
I'm laughing because it's so true. We say shit like that and people might get offended. I go, but that's because that's how it was. It wasn't, we wanted to cancel out bisexuality because we know it exists.
Sure.
If that it was just very flimsy back then. You know
and
what
I think,
I mean?
When a lot of people
I like nowadays where guys are comfortable saying that they're bisexual, because a woman saying she's bisexual is nothing new. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the guys who are now opening up about being bisexual, and I find it better because back then, we're horrible gays back then. We're just horrible, and we're learning every day to be better.
Yeah. Well, I definitely, I don't want to go into boohoo, but I took a lot of abuse in high school, my senior year. And the more bullying and abuse I take, the more outlandish I became. Like, I was certainly no victim. I was a bitch. So, you know, I couldn't go through from one class to the next without being called a faggot and being pushed. But you know what I did? I put a fucking piece of gold foil right on my cheek.
I was just gonna say.
I wore the beret. I fucking shaved my eyebrows just like deeper and deeper. And I gave, you know what? If they're gonna talk about me, I'm gonna give them something to talk about. And I sure as fuck did. For Easter, I wore a trench coat with some bondage outfit underneath. It would flash like when the t-shirts are like. I wrote a book called Smut, which I have right in that bookcase. My erotic poetry photo book, which is crass and filthy. Like, it's terrible. But like, you know, when you're in senior high school, this set the blueprint for survival. Like, I don't know, Like a Prayer, True Blue, they were great coming of age albums, but I don't know what my life would have been from senior year on if Erotica and the friends I met through Erotica. And Fearman introduced me to all these gays in Warren, Pennsylvania. They had the Bye Bye Baby girly show posters on the wall. The first gay friends I ever met. And I realized, like, I'm not bisexual. I don't want no titty. I didn't want no titty. But but I remember I got Erotica on Casingle. And, you know, you heard the song on MTV. But when I was in my little Chrysler LeBaron, 1992, I put the Casingle in, and you start off with that static, and then the bass on this album is mixed a little too heavy. Like, it just no matter what stereo play this album on, it rumbles it. I love it though. That's edgy.
It's the best.
It's the best. Like, it shakes your balls or your vag, whatever you.
You're musty.
You're musty.
No, to this morning, like I said, I listened to it all day today. I went and did cardio this morning, and it's just like you hit play and you're like on Spotify, because I want those streams to count. And you hit play and it's just like the cracking sound that it begins, that she has picked up the needle and has placed it on the vinyl, and we are listening to the thing, and then bam, you get the heavy bass, you get the Jungle Boogie sample.
Right.
Yep.
On there. And it's, I was like, let me tell you, like, if I question the spoken word, the songs in Justify My Love, like, this was perfect for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to, like you said, her music was an armor to us. So I know in the hallways, I was a sophomore that year when it came out, and I was always like, give it up, do as I say.
Mm-hmm.
Give it up. Doing shows in the hallways. I was a faggot that people needed to beat up on, and I did not care one bit.
Did you ever do the thing like in the video where she's like this, doing the blinking eyes? Like,
I got myself some wooden marionette doll to punch me in the cheek. That I did. Like,
we all did. There's so many of us out there that just all over the United States.
It was like, I'd be like this all the time. SEX.
Do you think Erotica changed more people's lives than any other Madonna album?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Ray of Light, but
and it really, like, it said, hey, this is where I'm going. You either can continue to follow me and enjoy what I'm putting out, or the door is right there. And that's what this album is. This tested your fanaticism with her, because everybody and their grandmother was coming for her.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't like a day that I did not hear slander, a minute that I didn't hear slander for a good months. Like, you know, Erotica came and went. Then you had the sex book, and then you had Deeper and Deeper, and then you had Body of Evidence. Yep. Oh,
Bad Girl. Like, we're gonna get there.
Oh yeah.
Now in the 90s, things are different. When you were where I grew up, and I can't speak for the whole United States, but I'm gonna guess that it was similar. Back in the days, 1992, the freaks were the fucking freaks. Like, you couldn't go to Hot Topic and get the hair dye. You went to the Army surplus store to get your combat boots. You went to the Salvation Army to get your weird fucking clothes. You had to drive to Buffalo, New York to get the Manic Panic hair dye. So in 1992, the people listening to Madonna, where I'm from, were the freaks. Like, she was completely embraced by the counterculture, the underground. The cheerleaders weren't listening to Madonna in 1992. And ironically, they were listening to Damn Nirvana. Ironically, the cheerleaders.
Uh,
92 was a good
100%.
year, and you just had to like not only there was alternative and there was R&B and hip hop just coming through, and if you didn't measure up, out you went.
Right.
I actually don't. So this was kind of, I was thinking about this earlier. Like, I don't remember who specifically was listening to erotica other than gay men, to be honest with you.
And their friends, right?
Right. Because I was thinking about it in terms of my own like journey with the record. Part of it was literally thinking about it. It was in a way, it was almost an inverse of what happened with some of the new romantic bands in the 80s, where like as an example, Duran Duran, I had friends that were embarrassed, and like male friends that didn't want people to know that they listened to Duran Duran because they were afraid that everyone would call them a faggot, right?
Sure.
And so in a weird way, I think there was a problem with being a woman, like a teenage girl listening to erotica, because there was like an automatic perception that you were like a tramp if
Sure.
you were into that record, which is like terribly unfair,
And the straight men didn't want to go anywhere near it.
Oh no. Like
Mhm.
that wasn't a record that a regular guy
The
was
straight men, all they wanted to do was see the sex book and call it a day.
Yeah.
Yep. But they didn't own it. I don't think I knew a single straight man that owned that book.
No, it was all gay men looking at Madonna's bush and her titty.
Yes. I did it because of Naomi Campbell. I had to have it.
Some raunchy stories in that book. Yeah, Sharon, you're right. This was the gay men and then their freaky friends. Like, and I don't even know if the freaky friends were listening to this album by choice. Ann Fearman certainly did not ever want to hear this album, but it was everywhere that we were, where she was. So, she was stuck with it. And I'm sure you were also stuck with this album against your will, right?
That's literally the story, which is why I find this whole podcast so funny to me, because like one of my vivid memories was being in Jeffrey's car with him. So we were like, I don't know, we're like obviously 16, and we were driving somewhere, and he had erotica dumped to like a cassette, and we're driving, and I remember getting to the very, very end. So like we must have been listening to Secret Garden, and I remember thinking to myself, thank God that's over.
It's a long album too.
It's the longest I've ever, it's the longest that I ever remember any of her albums, because 45 minutes, you're done. But this one was I was like, okay. I had my little Walkman, and I had the cassette that I had stolen from Woolworth because I'm just a horrible person. And it was just like, rewind, play. Back then, like I said, I was like, all over Bye Bye Baby and maybe, some other songs. But it's just, I love like thinking back of what I was doing specifically when an album comes out.
Now, I do have to add, before we get into the track by track, there were two albums from this era that were the absolute Bible of gay men. And everyone I knew had both these albums. One of them was Erotica. Can you guys name the other album from this era that was everywhere and everybody's everything? Any takers?
In 92?
92. But it came out a year earlier, but everyone was still listening to it in 92.
Not Mariah.
No.
Okay.
The same freaks that were listening to Erotica. I had one other CD in their hands. Nope. Annie Lennox, Diva.
Oh my God, of course.
Diva.
Was that 91 or was that 92?
It might have been 92, but I think Diva is just as important as Erotica in a different way.
Let me tell you, that album is really good. Really, really good. So you have your singles, but I live for Cold so much. Yep. I love Cold when it came out. And then I saw A Soldier's Girl, and it's embedded in my brain for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so Erotica and Diva were my
They're really good albums.
Yeah,
really good albums. And it's funny because those were the dueling divas in the 80s. your gays had their analytics that they would go after, they would stand for. They had Cyndi Lauper, they had Madonna. So it was all like, Annie Lennox and Cyndi Lauper. They were the creme of the creme. The critics loved them. They were so respected. And here you had Madonna, who, if you liked her, you were a slut or a faggot.
But she's still selling more and charting higher for what it's worth. Not that that's the barometer for everything.
But that's her life story. Everyone, brings her down, and then she just catapults herself.
Yeah. Well, do we want to say anything about the album cover? I mean, I just think it was a
daring. Can we talk about the foot?
The foot on the back cover. Lord have mercy, that damn foot. When I saw that Record Giant,
because first of all, I get the album. I get the album, and it's like, first of all, it's beautiful. You know how many men I have known that have that album cover tattooed to their bodies?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
So and let me tell you, I was tempted myself too, because that's a very beautiful picture of her. And then the foot shocked me.
It was a lot. The foot was a lot. It's still a lot. Like, I feel like the foot's still a lot.
Yeah. She's like straight out of the gate fucking with your emotions. But, it's like the beautiful and the profane, like right there,
But the chilly, here comes Eric. The chilly blueness of the cover, and then the blue on here. It's so indicative.
Another, 30 years to suck another toe. I saw it in the Medellin video. She was sucking Maluma's toe.
What a daring cover! Like, that icy blueness is just so indicative of the album.
Yeah.
Oh.
She needs to release an icy blue vinyl.
Well, isn't the Erotica picture disc coming out tomorrow? I have mine coming from Amazon.
It comes out. I came out today, I think,
with the toe picture on there.
I think it was an interesting she went from like extreme close up of her belly to like extreme close up, like highly stylized, like extreme close up of one eye.
Now, remember how different she looked in this era? Because of course in the sex book she still kind of looked like classic Madonna. But by the time we got to Erotica, her eyebrows were different. She had the gold tooth. Her hair was different, and the mole was gone. So I remember, the Vanity Fair photo spread came out. There was Harper's Bazaar, I think. There was another one. There were 3, and I bought them all. The one where she's on the playground with her titties out.
Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone. There was a Rolling Stone. There was a Time cover with the gold tooth. Or not Time, Newsweek. Mm-hmm. It was just a different. She had those MTV interviews where she had the beret. There was the one with all the candelabras in the background.
No, she had that interview with Jonathan something in England with the beret. I remember that one because it was when they were asking her, when they were calling her grandma.
Yeah. What an interesting era. And everyone's like, Madonna's done, and we're still talking about her in 2022.
Yeah.
Although she might be done now. I don't know what the hell's going on. But let's not get into that. Does anyone have anything to say about Erotica before we start going into the songs? Eric, welcome if you can hear us. We don't see you or hear you, but I see your name. Oh, okay.
Let's go.
So the song Erotica. Now, we did have the template from Justify My Love, the talking, but this was a whole nother level of... Yeah.
I can't. It's in my head already.
We heard the sample. We heard some of the samples in the Beast Within remix. The or whatever. We heard that in Beast Within. What a weird fucking song. And it's very 90s, but there's like a lot of like metal scraping, things clanging. It really does feel like the basement of an S&M club.
Yep.
Like that, the sound of the vinyl, the heavy bass, the talking, of course she originally was called You Thrill Me. She did the demo on the Confessions tour, but that proper album version of Erotica, is my favorite. Like this is, I just listened. It was the soundtrack of my youth.
So good.
What do you guys have to say about Erotica, the song?
I did not give it enough credit. Like, I think particularly when I went back, like, so as a song, I never disliked it. The video, like, completely traumatized me as a child, because I was so not ready. I was like, between that and the sex book and Body of Evidence, I was like, this is way too much all at once. Ma'am, I'm only 14.
And she looks kind of scary, like in the video, that her look,
yeah,
with the slicked hair.
Yeah, it's funny too, because, like, you know, when I go back, it's hard. It's interesting and hard at the same time to divorce the video and the song, you know, and the visual presentation from the song.
Right.
But just thinking about the song is so great, and it's to the point you just made. It's very edgy and it's very raw, and it's funny when I was going back and listening to it, because we've talked a little bit about how, like, Human Nature was like a goth club hit.
Sure.
So Frozen and Human Nature were both goth club hits in San Francisco when I was growing up, and when I hear this song, I'm like, I don't know why Erotica wasn't. Because it has that vibe to it. It's kind of like dirty and raw and aggressive and sexual, but in a way that's kind of like, but it's funky and it's danceable, and it's got that, like, it's got that sort of like underground kind of, like, you know, energy, like intensity to it. So
right. They did play it at the Castle in Tampa, I will say.
I'm not surprised. That makes sense. Just wasn't like I don't think where I was, I don't think it was like, it, for whatever reason, didn't have the same amount of airtime as Human Nature. But, like, it's funny, like, on a related tangent, like, I always thought the line in Human Nature where she said, you punish me for telling you my fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I always thought that was almost like her talking to the world about their perception of erotica.
I think it is.
No, you're absolutely right. It is. It truly is. Absolutely no regrets. That's all about the Erotica thing.
I think Erotica is so much better of a song than Human Nature, though. I like Human Nature, but I love Erotica.
I live for Erotica and have lived for Erotica for 30 years now. It's just like, I don't know. The single got leaked on radio a couple of weeks before it was supposed to come out. So I heard it in September. And literally, people were just craving for it. Like the radio station, Power 96, played it. And
Power Bottom 96.
So they had to play it again on the hour. And then the next day, they're like, we can't play Erotica anymore because the record label came and took it away from us. So that's why when the single dropped, it debuted at number 13. It debuted number 2 on airplay. Could you imagine 2?
Wow.
If it wasn't because End of the Road was that mega smash that it was in 92, it would have been number 1 airplay. A number 1 airplay debut. Nobody gets that much airplay.
I have to take back what I said. I think it's incorrect to say she looks scary in the video, because scary is a negative word. She just looked...
No, you know what? You can't change. That's how she looked to you. To me, it wasn't scary. To me, it was like,
I don't think it was scary though. I thought it was fabulous.
I thought it was great. Like, let me tell you, it's just like, so it opened my eyes. First of all, she's a beautiful woman, and you get to see Isabella Rossellini looking so good, dressed
Vanilla
up.
Ice.
You get Vanilla Ice. You get Big Daddy Kane and Naomi Campbell. And I have forever lived for that lioness hair that she had on Miami Beach.
I like where she walks like this and she does the twirl. Like when that's the part I always reenacted.
Oh, I was like, let me reenact her, you know, hitchhiking naked on Alton Road, because that was you had that. Who didn't have that poster?
I've got it right over there.
Exactly, it is
somewhere. I got it somewhere.
Jeffrey has that poster framed, and it's right there, and I live for it.
My Jeffrey had it on his notebook at high school.
Oh,
He
I
had
love it.
Nice.
pictured. He had it taped on his notebook.
Yeah, I didn't feel she looked scary. I thought she looked beautiful. But that like dusky eye shadow, the pulled back hair, the gold tooth. I actually loved the gold tooth, which is why I covered my tooth with tinfoil. Then I did get a gold tooth, which I gave to Toby in Buffalo. He saw my Facebook. I had a crush on Toby. Now he has like 3 kids. He took my
Damn
gold
you, Toby.
I know, damn Toby. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, how are you?
We're just talking about the song Erotica, so just jump in. You all know Eric from were you on the original controversial Erotica podcast
No,
with Anthony?
No,
it was
no.
me and Jeffrey.
Oh, we got brutalized.
You know, somebody told me something that is so true. Erotica is what Justify My Love should have been.
Yes, that is true.
I kind of feel they're totally different. I feel like Just For My Love is
she went in, but she really went in on Erotica.
Yeah, she really went
put
in.
everything out there and to a beat, and it was great. Like come on, give it.
I don't think you could I feel like it was a transition. I don't think you could have gotten to Erotica without the stepping stone that's Just For My Love.
Obviously,
I agree.
that's
Just For My
very
Love was
true.
like best play.
But Erotica, is better than Justify My Love.
Can you imagine Madonna dropping Erotica without having never heard Just For My Love? It would have been too much. That would have been too much.
No, I was such an apologist back then, and it was just like
You still are, bitch. Don't even go there.
I so am. But the thing,
you're listening to Told fucking Sheba or whatever.
I am such a homo. Like anything that was sexually liberating in my eyes was great. So I loved it. It was the best.
Sharon, you had something to say?
I was gonna say, and full disclosure, I love Justify My Love. It's like one of my favorite songs ever. But like a lot of that was like it was like training wheels for like Erotica, right? Like Erotica, it's like she comes into her own. It's like Justify My Love. It like there's like a little bit of it that kind of it just feels almost a little bit like too much artifice. It's like, oh, I'm gonna like spout some Mingo Chavez poetry and just kind of like do this stuff, but like Erotica is like I'm gonna have my way.
Yeah,
give it up, do as I say. And every incarnation we've had on concert tours, like I know people like to talk shit about Candy Shop, but that Candy Shop Erotica mix and that MDNA tour is everything.
It was good. Eric, do you have anything to say about the song Erotica?
I like it, but I like the dance remixes. Was it Louis Vega? Is it the one who did the house remix?
Mm-hmm.
But it's too short. I wish it was long.
So here's my Erotica.
Yeah, that's
CD
it.
Single. I have a bunch of the promo.
I love the mask.
I want to give a shout out to the mask. I love Madonna in the mask. I'll take the mask over the eye patch any day.
Yeah. I'll go for that.
The eye patch is dead and gone. We have surpassed it finally.
Well, any other thoughts on the song Erotica before we move on?
I will say, oh, sorry.
My bad. Peaked at number 3 with another number 1 song on the dance charts. And it's a gold single.
All right, Sharon, finish us off on Erotica, the song.
I was going to say, I think the one, I think this is where I'm just going to say what I was saying in the chat before the show. I think the unfortunate thing is it's such a great track. And I think that the furor over a woman kind of coming out and sort of like embracing and owning her own, sexuality and her libido, and the outrage over that really overshadowed the song, and I think it ended up overshadowing the entire record. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really unfortunate because, like I said a little bit earlier, it kind of set us up to have embracing this record reflect on us as people. And I think to the point made earlier, it's just like if you embrace this record, you would be perceived as a freak, right? And I think for some, like in some contexts that was a good thing, like that was like really helpful, and I think in some contexts that was also really not helpful. So And that wasn't on her, that was on everybody else, right? And I think that that's kind of an interesting thing about this. And you know, like, how fucking stupid is that?
Mhm.
And it really overshadows this record because like this record ultimately became, I think in a lot of people's minds, all about sex. And
Right.
Yeah. And that's like, sex is actually only, I would say, a sliver of what this record is about.
Sure.
You know, so I think it in conclusion, I think it's such a great record, and it goes into so many different places and so many different directions. And I just wanted to say that like anyone that trashes this record has probably never listened to it.
Correct.
All right. And with that, next song.
Now, can I make a controversial statement? And this is a whole can of worms. And I shouldn't even say this out loud on a podcast. But I find myself missing the days when sex was forbidden and repressive. I do. Because now everybody's just naked everywhere. Like all the kids, like there's this guy, I had a big crush on him. Then I found his Twitter, like butthole everywhere. It's like,
What?
you know, things are so open now that there's like,
Thank God for Twitter.
I guess, but there's no mystery anymore. And I feel like this album fought against the repression. But now in 2022, I almost feel like what we've done with that isn't quite as healthy as it could have been either. So I know that's a whole nother discussion, but does anyone understand what I'm saying at all?
I totally understand where you're coming from, but like me being the slut that I am, like I'm happy where we're at. And, you know, people like her, people like Janet Jackson, they just, you know, they open the doors, and then you see the girls are like, you know, they're owning their bodies and they don't want any judgment. They want to put themselves out there that way.
But
And there shouldn't be.
I feel like we've come a long way physically, but I feel like emotionally and spiritually, for lack of a better word, everyone's kind of avoiding that. And when's it going to catch up and crumble? Because, you know, everyone is being free with their bodies, but do they really feel it? And are they, you know, like, what's the emotion behind it? So that's a whole nother discussion. But I kind of miss 1992 because it made sense to me to have sex. You're not supposed to tell anybody. You're repressed, and it was amazing. And very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. Like, this is a blueprint for the unhealthy, secret, taboo relationships I had for the next 20 years, you know? So I'm like, did Erotica help me or hurt me in the long run? But anyway, a little bit of both.
You could be the judge of that.
Yeah, I think
Erotica helped.
A little bit of both, probably.
I think Erotica helped.
Because, you know, we had the blueprint how to be free with our bodies, but I guess Ray of Light was our blueprint of how to be spiritually whole. Anyway, gotcha. Sorry to go off on a tangent. Moving on.
Worries.
Fever. It's the first time. Is this the first time? No, it's not the first time Madonna did a cover, because she did Love Don't Live Here anymore.
No. Love Don't Live Here no more.
But it still was interesting to hear Madonna doing a cover.
On an iconic song, like
an
not
iconic
just
song.
Like it's not just, you know, hey, you know, an obscure but a great R&B song by Rolls Royce. But
for Love Don't Live Here.
This was like, yeah. So this one is like, she's perfect, honestly, for this song. Like, who else could do this song?
It sounds like she's about to fall asleep doing the vocals. Like, she certainly has no pep in her step here, but I kind of love that sleepy, like, detached delivery. It's so different than the original. Of course, there's the history, how it was Goodbye to Innocence, and then Up, Down, Sweet. We covered that all in the last one. But Fever, first of all, I love every song on this album, so I have nothing bad to say about any of these songs, except Did You Do It?
I was going to say, what about Did You Do It?
And I have another one that's not my favorite. But what an interesting second song. You know, the song Erotica kind of has a 90s. What kind of beat would you say that is? R&B?
It's an R&B hip hop loop. It's a
hip hop loop. Yep.
Because it's your classic. It's a 70s R&B groove that you can use as a hip hop loop on a rap. So it was perfect. Yep. So we go from that
to pure house.
1992 house beat.
Shep Pettibone in the house.
Oh, this was 1992 hands down. Like that was the type of house, you know, the Clubland house, you know, the movement, stuff like that type of house. It was just, and I love it. So like today I was listening to it. I was like, damn, like this is, I don't top, I bottom type of house.
Yeah. I like the edit one of this that has from the
I'm
video.
always in that house.
Oh, honey.
Now, you know what? A lot of people, I like this version, but a lot of people love the video version.
I like the video version with Nikki and
I
Donna.
love the
Same
video.
here.
Edit one. That's edit
And
one.
I wish that was the version that was on Finally Enough Love.
And do you know where you get edit one for all the collectors out there? On this fucking Rain single. That's the only place you can find the video version of Fever.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yep. So look for Fever edit one. I don't know if this was a German single.
She re-released today. She released The Bad Girl with the Fever. Is it not part of that?
Mm-mm. I don't think so. Well, I don't know what she released today.
Well, all I know is that Fever was the B-side to Bad Girl. So Bad Girl was sent to radio while Fever was sent to the clubs.
Now, there was the Japan Rain EP that had 10 songs, and there was a bunch of mixes of Fever, but the video version was not on this CD. So you really, even at the time, had to dig to find that video version. That's a hot video too, right?
Oh,
Yeah, I love the red color in her hair and
Ooh.
the different wigs and that green thing she was wearing with her boobs almost hanging out.
This was such a
And the paint, the gray paint and
Woo.
her hair like that. I was like, oh,
silver.
Do y'all remember the grind back from the 90s?
Yes.
With
I
Eric
remember
Nies.
when Eric was the host and he said this is Madonna's Fever. I remember showing the video where everyone was dancing to it. I guess I was like maybe 10 or 11 at the time.
Anyone remember right in that midst of all this choking from erotica. Right in the midst of all this controversy, the bitch goes on SNL and sings Fever with a live band.
Mm-hmm.
Just blonde hair, black. That was
beautiful, long blonde hair. Oh, it looks so good on her.
That's one of my favorite Madonna live performances where she's doing the. Yeah, so I remember I was in, journalism class, and I just remember the teacher's like, "Well, Madonna's all she's doing is cover versions now because Fever came out." I'm like, "Bitch!" I think her name was Mrs. McQuiggan. She's like, I guess now she's doing cover versions. Any other thoughts on Fever?
#1 club record.
#1 club. All right, so we are now moving on to the 5th single of the album.
Yes.
Released in Australia as a CD single.
And a hit there.
A hit there. Some great remixes. The New York hip hop mix. I remember loving all these remixes. Madonna's Night at the Club mix. We have Madonna sounding like she's on a telephone with her nose plugged.
This song would have fit perfectly in I'm Breathless.
Yeah, I can hear that. She's calling back Love Song from Like a Prayer. This is not a love song.
This is not a love song. Yep.
She says you fucked it up at the end, but she bleeps out the F word. At the time, I kind of thought the song was a throwaway, but as time has gone on, I've come to love it. And let's not forget her VMA performance with the...
I was going to say, her VMA / Girly Show Tour performance of that song really elevated it for me.
Yep.
So this is one of those songs where, like, I never appreciated it until I was an adult and understood the lyrical content. Like as a child, didn't care one way or the other about it, but like going back and like appreciating it as a grown woman, what she does lyrically with this song is so interesting. And like I just think it's wild. Like just going through the whole thing of this, like basically like, fuck you.
Right.
So, like this is the last time you're going to see me cry.
This is the first time and the last time.
You know? And like I think you like to see me cry, and playing with both the sexual and the emotional connotations of all of that. Like like I read an article on the 30th anniversary that was kind of talking about the song being like, you know, like I don't know, they were kind of like dissing on this song, and I was like, I don't know at all. I actually thought I thought she was being pretty ballsy with it.
Yeah.
You know, like from an emotional standpoint, I thought she was being pretty ballsy to kind of go there, both from a sexual standpoint and basically like from a like essentially a breakup song standpoint.
And not to mention a little detached too, which much of the album is. And I love the I like to hurt you. Does this excite you? Oh, you know, we're all like singing along, being gay as fuck. 1992. What excites you? What turns you on? Oh, do anyone else have anything to say about Bye Bye Baby? All right. Well, I think we're moving on to one of the most beloved and iconic songs of Erotica. Of course, I gotta show my little bit of a collection here. We have the CD single with the instrumental version, the maxi single, the Japan EP, and I have my US promo single that has a couple exclusive remixes on it.
Yes.
Deeper and Deeper, featuring Nikki and Donna for one of their only times on this album. Or is this their only time on the album? Because I know they sing on Why Is It So Hard, the girly show version, but I can't remember if they're on the album version because they're so intertwined in my mind. Deeper and Deeper, a classic house club song. What can be said about it?
A classic Madonna song.
Classic Madonna.
Yeah, like, you know, you hear it and it's Madonna, and no one can do it other than Madonna.
Yeah,
those one certain songs, and this one is it, and this one has stood the test of time.
Oh yeah.
Like, people still say, "Oh, I love Erotica because Deeper and Deeper's on it." Gen Z is loving Deeper and Deeper.
Is anyone burned out on her Instagram though? The deep, 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 deep from the remix? How she like had that on her fucking story every day.
Like, I can hear the regular version, but I hear in my head the remix.
Really?
And it's horrible because I'm like, I listen to it, and then, you know, the sounds, David Knapp remix, deep, 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 and those like, and those extra chorus parts where she's singing, ad-libbing in the remix. I sing those on the regular one, and they're like, people are like, "What are you thinking?" I'm like, "The remix." I can't help it.
I'd go as far to say that some of the Madonna remixes from this era, especially, are just as iconic as the album versions. I mean, I played the fuck out of these maxi singles back in the day.
Child, she does, like, oh my God, it's just the remixes from in the 90s. The remixes alone in the 90s literally set her apart from anyone else.
Of course, we love the Vogue throwback at the end. That was cool. Now, it was 1992, and by this time, everyone was calling me a fag. And me and my first love of my life was a straight guy named Ryan McGahee, who I'm still friends with. But we wore tie-dyed skirts to a dance, trying to be controversial. And we called ourselves the Bye Guys, even though he says he's not. But now he's married. Ryan, if you ever change your mind and want to move to Florida, though, we can make that happen. Where I'm going is we had our tie-dye skirts on, which was very controversial in 92, really, you know, pushing the boundaries. And all I wanted to do was hear Deeper and Deeper. I just wanted to go on the fucking dance floor, twirling my tie-dyed gauzy skirt. And you know what? I heard those, like it came on. Fucking, I showed those jocks and those preppy bitches how to work the dance floor 1992 with my tie-dyed skirt, twirling like a motherfucker. So that's my Deeper and Deeper 1992 story. The DJs played it. It was in that shit-ass motherfucking small town that I have no sentimentality towards. And I'm triggered every time I see the fucking Buffalo Bills because I don't even care about that shit. I've been in Tampa since 98. Deeper and Deeper. Okay, I'm done. That was my monologue. Eric, Aaron, David, anything to add about Deeper and Deeper?
I mean, everything is just perfect. Like the video, I love the 70s era, what she was doing with the with the bell bottoms. So I just wish she would tour with an outfit like that, like what she did on SNL.
Well, the
You know,
Afro.
like I mean, I just like the bell bottoms. I think it's like very cute. I mean, everything about it is just like so perfect.
Yep.
It's a classic when you hear it. I mean, it's a classic Madonna song, exactly what he just said. But it's one of my favorite songs. But when you were talking about Fever earlier, I mean, the reason why I called myself Fever is because it was my favorite song on Erotica on Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
I'll peaked at number 7. Funny, she only has 2 songs that have peaked at number 7, and it's Deeper and Deeper and Die Another Day, so DAD.
Okay.
Number 1 club record.
Interesting.
I loved it. It's like the video is great too. We got Miss Debbie Mazar up in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And I love
I love the banana, the guy
banana
with
thing. Yeah.
the muscle guy with the banana.
Mm-hmm.
That,
She's got this pretty, I think that's what you said, the bell bottom. She's got this pretty crop top and her hair's in braids, and it's just, oh, it's so pretty.
Deeper and Deeper is one of those songs where, like, at the time this record came out, like I was like, you know, getting into industrial. I wanted to be cool. Like, I didn't want to be associated with this record on so many levels. Like, it wasn't going to be like, it wasn't cool enough. It wasn't underground enough. Like, you know, Madonna would like, I wasn't having sex yet. So I was like, right. But like, I will never forget. I was like, fuck, that's a good dance song.
do you ever remember Chichi LaRue was the porn director was in the video?
Oh,
Yes. Yep.
yes. Oh, you're right. And Helmet, what's his guy? The guy from My Own Private Idaho was there too.
Did anyone ever walk into the club, put on the headphones, and go like this, like in the video, when she goes up to the DJ booth?
I brought balloons into the club.
Oh.
Oh gosh. All right. Any other thoughts on Deeper and Deeper? We don't need to do the thumbs up or thumbs down. All these songs are thumbs up.
I was gonna say, this is like literally one of the most iconic Madonna songs of all time. Like,
Now,
you can't, how many thumbs do we have? Because you
I know.
can't have too many thumbs.
Did anyone see my Instagram story today?
Oh,
I
I haven't
missed
been
it.
on Instagram in 2 days.
Colonel Sanders says it best.
Oh.
So it's a little shout out to Erotica anniversary. I put a little picture of Colonel Sanders. We next have a song that might not be considered an iconic Madonna song, like Deeper and Deeper. Deeper and Deeper was the height of her club classics, one of the mountainous peaks. The next song, Where Life Begins, foreshadowed such coming classics such as Holy Water, SEX, and I remember the first time I heard this song, I'm like, oh, like it was kind of a little obvious. I thought she was being a little obvious here. I was shocked
Really?
by the Colonel Sanders thing because it was so bad. Like that's something like we would have said in high school, but I loved it too. I'm like, bitch went there. I'm going to. Colonel Sanders said it best. Finger licking good. Like the way she says it. We have a song about cunnilingus
Yes.
being eaten out. Can you make a fire without using wood? What's there to be said about this song? I guess this is one of the sexual songs on this album, but there's nothing sexy about the song. It kind of feels like almost a joke, and I'm okay with it. I don't know.
So, gentlemen, as experts in cunnilingus, can you let me know what you think?
Well,
Colonel Sanders said it best.
it's been 3 decades since I did that kind of stuff, but
I will go on the record and say I'd never done that.
oh
Never
no,
went there.
child. I had to prove that I was really gay.
Prove your love. You proved your love, Taylor Dane style.
Yes, honey. But I said, don't rush me. I've made that mistake before. No,
Well-
I was like, whatever to the song. I don't skip it. I used
don't
to skip
skip
it a lot. I don't skip it anymore. I don't skip anything on this album.
It's very jazzy. The music's very like hip hop jazz.
Exactly. And it's just like, whatever. But I know every word. I know it word by word, but it's not, to me, this is the lowest ranked song for me.
It's one of my lowest for sure.
I know that you have the other song, but I can stomach the other song because I kind of like, I like it. I'm busted.
I do like the chorus, the go down where it's warm inside. That's very Madonna-ish. Little share.
Yes, but you know what? This could have been replaced. They could have put Goodbye to Innocence up in here.
I guess. But it did kind of help with the flow of the album because if you put too many
actually.
house songs after each other, you have Kathy Dennis's Into the Skyline album. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do that. I think this changed.
Her.
I like her third album, the indie one that everyone hated. I even have her little poster on my wall somewhere. This song was a palate cleanser. Well, I guess it's not really. Kind of made the palate dirtier. You're actually,
But no, it gave you a second to skip, is what it
I gave you a second to go get the beer out of the refrigerator, smoke a bowl.
This is the perfect song. Like, okay, cool. I can leave the dance floor. I can go take a piss. I can go get maybe go get a drink, come back.
Now, if there was any club playing this song,
smuggle the straight guy out the door down the back stairs. There's a lot of things you could do with this song.
Yeah.
Eric, did you have any thoughts on Where Life Begins?
I like it. I mean, I really like the whole album.
Yeah.
I like the way that what's his name? What's the guy's name that produced it?
Shep Pettymone. Andre Betts did this song.
Yeah, that guy. He's the one who's the one who made that song, right? He did 3 songs on the album.
Yep.
I think he's pretty good. I like it.
Well, I'm still gonna give it a thumbs up.
I like it.
I'm gonna give it 2 fingers up.
Oh, okay. Two comments from me. One.
Okay. Sorry, Sharon.
All right, the most mediocre song on this record is still better than like Holy Water. So like first and
very
foremost,
true.
Very true.
I would listen to this song 500 times before I listen to Holy Water. So we're good. I will also say, like in a similar vein to, I'm pretty sure no woman wants a penis phono. I don't think any woman wants to hear a song saying about cunnilingus. Maybe they do. I don't know, but like I just like I don't like. Maybe I'm the only one that feels this way. I don't know, but like I don't need it.
Sharon, I'm here to tell you right now that the song about cunnilingus wasn't for the woman. And either are the penis photos. Us gay men love the photos, love the song. So.
Well, now that I know that I'm not the correct target audience, I feel a lot better.
A song about eating puss for gay men.
Yes.
Right? Well, if women aren't the correct target audience for straight men sending women dick pics, why do the straight men keep sending women the dick pics?
813-760-5399. Send them here, baby.
Please.
I can make a fire with using wood.
Only the cute ones, please.
Listen, I'm desperate. Cute, ugly.
No child. We must have standards. That is what Madonna showed us.
She did? Not with that last video, she didn't. Okay, moving on.
Oh, wait. Well, you can talk about that.
That's a different
Another time,
podcast
then.
for a different day.
Yes. Mhm.
That hot mess. Okay,
It looked like it was filmed on a phone or something.
Yeah.
give the
I
phone.
read
Right.
it and I love it. Now leave her alone.
There are parts of it that she looks very nice in.
Yes.
And there are parts of it that she doesn't.
It was 1994. I was kicked out of my house. I lived on the streets for a little bit, and I moved into my first apartment. And the second love of my life, Scott Cross, who I terrorized and like stalked for like 10 years, terrible. Poor guy was probably terrified because I was like single white female. But
Ma'am.
I know.
That's a really good movie too.
And it's one of those things
Which one
like
are you?
it's one of those things where like I need you to forgive me to validate me. So like you keep trying to like apologize for like 10 years, and then you have to accept like those motherfuckers don't want to hear from you. They really don't. So Anyway, I'm going somewhere with the story. Sorry, dude. We all were fucked up growing up. Had issues with intimacy and love and craziness. But before things went bad, when Scott spent the night at my house as friends, because nothing ever happened, he said his favorite Madonna song of all time was Bad Girl.
Oh,
so
praise Satan.
I remember just laying in my bed, because when you're young, you fall in love in a way you don't when you get older. At least for me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. He borrowed my erotica beret and wore it to the club.
Oh Lord.
He said Bad Girl was this the days
I live.
And you're like, we're getting married. It's done. We're getting married.
I thought in my mind we're getting married, and in his mind, he's probably like, well, this gay bitch quit calling me. Okay. So getting personal on this podcast, it's hard not to, because so much of this album is really tied into the moments of my life that were the greatest and the worst, the most heartbreaking. Even by this time, Bedtime Story was out by the time this memory happened, but we were still talking about erotica. We were still talking about erotica after Bedtime Stories came out.
Of course.
So Bad Girl, the second love of my life, which wasn't love. Favorite song, beautiful video. At the time, I didn't get this song. I just thought it would seem kind of like.
No, sir.
Oh.
This is.
And I just mean for the first 2 weeks.
This is my favorite song on the album.
When I say at first, I just mean the first 2 weeks. Like, it didn't take me long to.
Oh no, I was just like, and like today, I said one of my favorite moments was that my mom loves this song a lot too. We would connect on this song. She still thought she was a slut, but she's like, I like this song.
You see,
she saw herself in that character. You know what I mean? There are these busy women who like, and to me, it's just like, it kind of sucks how it ended for her, whoever that lady was that she was portraying. But
the character had a name, because you can see it written on one of the cards.
So I have to look. It's probably Anne. And
oh shit! Oh no!
But like, there's a lot of women out there, business professionals. They go to a bar, they pick up a man, they fuck him, and then they leave him, and they keep going. And like to me, I thought, it's like, why? She's normal. Like, this is nothing so taboo. But I know women were going through it because they could not they had to hide something like this.
And I feel like this song is a little bit of the flip side of the sexuality that we're not talking about as much anymore.
Yep.
We have, we're still doing Where Life Begins today, but we're not doing Bad Girl so much. Because I think there is a really ingrained, I will say on the record, like, my most glorifying, dirtiest sexual moments fucked me up. Like, they weren't healthy. And
Reliable Cox Internet for everyone. See if you qualify.
Ooh, I qualify. See, my ghost of my Satan's coming to get me. So I think a lot of my bad girlness is born out of unhealthy behavior. So that's why this song, I think this is a really important song.
It's so important. It's so relatable. Like, I think it's relatable to like the thing that's so great about this song is I think it's so fucking relatable to women, to men, to straight men, to gay men.
To gay men, yeah.
Oh God. I actually think it's so fucking relatable. And it's like, even if like, here's the crazy thing about me, right? Like I loved this song when it came out because, like, how can you not? It's so rich and beautiful and like.
Doesn't it sound like nothing else out there? Like it's almost like a house song slowed down into a ballad, which no one else really did. Did they like this? So sorry to interrupt. No. Continue.
The video is incredible, but the point that I was gonna make is like, you don't have to be promiscuous to know what it feels like to be a slut. You know what I mean? So like all of us at points in our lives, whether or not we were promiscuous, have felt like a slut. Like every single one of us. And like that feeling of like chasing something through sexuality or through intimacy, not through intimacy, through you know, dating the wrong people or like going to clubs and trying to hook up with people or whatever, like whether or not we were sleeping with them or we're like whatever we were doing at the time, and knowing like inherently that the behavior you're doing is not going to get you what you're looking for, which is like true intimacy or a relationship or whatever, right. But you don't know how else to go about it. And that feeling and that kind of like Groundhog Day feeling of it, like that to me is what the song and the video like caught. And it's like that's so ubiquitous. And it's like and I think it's so universal. And I feel like it doesn't matter if you're like me, who's had like relatively few partners, or if someone that's had a ton of partners. It's like I think we all get that, you know.
I lost track years ago.
I don't have any more fingers.
You know,
my husband made a point of counting, so like I know what his number.
Oh
is.
shit!
I mean, such a man. I live
exactly.
Back in the gay.com days, you know, I was meeting.
Man, 2, 3, those were great days.
So I'm gonna make a bold statement, and I feel like this is the erotica therapy session a little bit because this album so.
It seems.
I think in my life, my mouth has been filled many times, but I don't know if my cup ever has.
Oh, wow.
And that's what Bad Girl's about. You know, I'm getting a little teary-eyed here, but that's fucking Bad Girl right there.
That's a good. You know what? I need to put that on a t-shirt.
I think a lot of people, especially gay men, underneath it all, I think we're filling our mouths, we're filling our buttholes. How often is our cup in our soul really ever filled up?
Why do you think she only sung it one time? That was it, live.
On Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, that was the only time she sung it. And
Beautiful.
It sounded good.
Sounded beautiful.
Yeah.
But you know, I feel like Madonna's even herself out of touch with this piece of her at this point in her life. I think, I mean, I don't know her, but from what I'm seeing from an observational standpoint, I'm not seeing that connection with the hard wiring in her brain that created this art. You know, this is art. This song is art. This video is art. Oh, I feel like I'm being too heavy. I'm sorry, you guys.
The video, she looks great. Oh,
it looks
that long blonde hair, I can't get enough of it.
Rebecca Carlson, eat your heart out.
I know. I just want Julianne Moore to slap me in a bathroom.
The cat, she feeds the cat, then the cat doesn't have an owner anymore.
She takes off her panties, puts them in the sink, and then she feeds the cat. And then she licks her fingers.
Oh, yeah, this song, it's chilling because, you know, I've had a couple I don't want to say near death, but situations that were very scary hooking up online. Like, good thing I got out of there. You know, I've had a knife pulled on me, this and that.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey. I'm not even going to watch the Dahmer movie because I think I'll be too triggered. I don't want to think of the situations I could have been in. So, Bad Girl, Madonna, thank you for writing the song.
Yeah.
All the viewers going to be like, shit, this is too heavy. We're going back to Ann Fearman. Volume 1 podcast.
Yeah. We want the one where the woman just trashes the whole record the entire time.
Yeah. We don't want her old pussy. All right. Any other thoughts on Bad Girl? Thumbs up, everybody. All right. So next, we have another song with Andre Betts, which has the best fade out of all time, which I also put on my Instagram story today. The next time you want pussy, baby. Oh, wait, just look in the mirror, baby. Best line best fade out on the whole album.
Is that Waiting for You?
Yeah, Waiting at the end.
It's one of my favorites.
Probably if I could get a Madonna lyric tattooed on my arm. In the last 5 years, I finally mellowed out and kind of gotten into a better psychological space. Prior to that, though, if I had to put some lyrics, if you have to ask for something more than once or twice, it wasn't yours in the first place. What a great lyric.
Max.
the lyrics on this are really, really good. It's hard to accept when you love someone, when you're led to believe in their moment of need that they want what you want, but they don't.
Yep.
So this is where, as the album moves forward, we kind of get into the more deeper psychological flip side of the coin, which is why, Sharon, what you said in the chat, it's a shame that this whole album was glossed over. This isn't about sex. This is really about the psychology of sex, for better or worse, in 92 and 2002. 22.
Yep.
So Waiting, take it away. Make me shut up. I'm talking too much.
I also think from a music standpoint, this is like everything that Where Life Begins could have been done better.
Yes.
Like, from an executional standpoint, it was done better, and like lyrically, like song structure wise, like it's just so much more. It's funny too, like when you listen to it, you're like, oh, in the second try they got it right, excellent.
Yeah. And it kind of goes on for a long time, and that does not bother me, that this is a little bit longer of a song. It's not like Incredible. It just keeps going.
Incredible.
I knew it from the start that you would desert me. You're gonna break my heart, baby. Please don't hurt me.
Waiting for you. Well, it did spawn a hip hop mix that we would listen to later on. But I love it. It's great lyrically. It's really good, and it's like you said. Okay, we've had our fun, and now Bad Girl has kicked in, and we have toned down, and now we really need to start paying attention to the lyrics. Like it's not the music right now; it's the lyrical content that needs to be on display.
Yep. Finally, I've seen a different man. Only love can hurt like this can. So,
Did she lie?
Did she lie? Do you know the only true successor to Erotica in existence is Peaches Fuck the Pain Away? That's the only true successor to Erotica, the album.
You're right.
I mean, it checks all the boxes. It's sexy. It has that emotion. It's clever. Peaches, you did it. I don't have too much else to say about Waiting. I love it. Thumbs up.
I like it. It's very
Great.
different.
All right, so we're getting back into a house little era of the album. Warren Beatty and Madonna were no longer together, and this song was rumored to be about his new wife. Who was it?
Annette Bening.
Little Susie Homemaker. Which is the thing I love about this album is just like Gay Men. Like, she says things that she had never said on any other album, and maybe not since either. Just like saying Susie Homemaker, so stupid, but so something that we would have done. Me and my friends, like, stop, bitch. Now sit your ass down. I released an album called This in 2011. In the beginning, I go, my name's Jeremy Gloff, bitch. And then you hear Shattering Glasses. I sampled the Breaking Glass from Thief of Hearts.
Of course you did.
This song is so bitchy, and there is a demo out where she's talking about like breaking someone's legs or something, right? That's a little bit more.
Which leg do you want me to break?
Which leg do you want me to break?
Ma'am, this song is one of her best album cuts of all time. This song is universally loved. I don't hear anyone say that it's bad. I'm just like, it's like, who the fuck is this bitch? Because I'm taking off my earrings and I'm coming to beat her ass in your honor, Madonna, because I don't know who this bitch is. You don't need to get your hands dirty here, honey. I got her.
Which Madonna would you be more afraid to meet in a dark alley? Thief of Hearts Madonna or Gangbang Madonna?
English Roses Madonna, please.
Oh! Heard that, Material Girl Madonna. I would not want to meet her in the dark. I don't have too much else to say about the song. Do you guys have anything to add? Sharon, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing that I really like about this is like that breakdown in the middle is like really like I'm gonna trot out the experimental word, but like this song goes in places that like I don't know that a Madonna song has ever gone before.
I agree.
From like a dance song perspective, like I don't think there's another Madonna song that sounds like this, like ever.
Like you do it, you straight that part.
It's like almost proto-techno in ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly it. Yeah. Like
I remember the first time I played this album, I was like, where's the pop chorus? And this song, this is pretty dark. Like there's not a pop hook. It's edgy as fuck.
Yes.
Like you said, Sharon, experimental.
Yeah.
And now you have to pay.
Hey. How many licks does it take?
I live. This song is great.
And I think for every gay man that loved Thief of Hearts, he had this female friend that's like, do I have to listen to this shit again? Did you hate the song? Sharon, did you hate the song back in the day?
I don't remember. I just remember like I just remember getting to Secret Garden and being like, I'm so glad this record is over. But
they memorized what the last song was so that she'd be ready.
Fountain Blue, somewhere in Fountain Blue.
But the thing is, it's like, well, and we have to get there, but like, I can't, but now in retrospect, I'm like, I can't believe I would have listened to In This Life. I mustn't have paid attention. Like, I can't believe I would have listened to that song and had that reaction. Cause like knowing what I know now, but like, I must have, I was a stupid kid, but anyway, we'll get there. We'll
get there. All right. Yeah. So we have another house song that's equally as dark, Words. I know some people would drag the song. I love it.
Who's dragging this song? The fucking nerve.
No
slander.
The bridge of the song.
Another lyrically content song.
Yeah,
the bridge of the song is one of my favorite Madonna moments of all time. Friends, they tried to warn me about you. I love that section.
Bridges. That's her.
Yeah. I know all the words. I'd probably have to listen to the album. A pledge, a commitment. Words with the little typewriter. Is that the fucking Madam X typewriter at the end?
She had the copyright on that, so she had to use it again. She owned that sound.
So the album continues to go into darkness. You know what I mean? Like underneath the fuck, underneath the fuck.
To be.
Underneath the fucking all of us is fucked up. So that's my second quote from this podcast. And this album explores all that, which is pretty accurate. Does anyone else have anything to say about this song?
It's good. I mean, I think I would say in general, which we've been talking about, is like this is some of the best like lyrics that she has on any record. Maybe the best lyrics she has on any record. And I don't think that she's gotten enough credit for that.
Of course, this is definitely an album track in the best way possible. It's a deep track, but beloved deep track. I think later in her career, she tried to touch on this a little bit with like Runaway Lover, but there's only one word.
They cut like a knife.
They cut like a knife. Next, the first time I heard the album, this song jumped out at me because it is the most classic Madonna pop of all the songs on the album. But it still has that kind of more synthesizer 92 electronic production. Rain, a beautiful song.
Beautiful ballad.
At the time when she went to those harmonies, I'm like, ooh, someone's been listening to Wilson Phillips.
Oh, cool.
I hated the radio remix they came out with later, which was kind of cheesy. I like the album version. And I love when she's doing two different poems and two different sides of the headphones.
Yes.
I know them both by heart, of course.
Of course you should. How dare you if you don't?
By sheer force of will, I'll raise you from the ground, and without a sound, I'll appear and surrender to you. Wait, surrender to me.
Surrender to love.
Y'all can't forget that beautiful video.
Oh my God.
Oh, the video is incredible. Yeah.
You better serve me jet black hair and piercing blue eyes, bitch.
I like her with black hair. It brings out her eyes.
Oh, those eyes popped.
She served a different look for every fucking erotica video. Everyone had its own unique look, and they were all beautiful.
And she was with that hot Latino guy in the video with the long hair.
Oh.
Do you guys remember when I'll Remember came out? I'm like, why is she back in that studio again?
Am I the only one that thinks Rain and I'll Remember sound very, very similar?
They're definitely sisters to each other, I would say.
Yeah.
I love them both. I do love them both. I remember when I'll Remember came out, my friends are like, the new Madonna song sounds like Cyndi Lauper. I don't agree or disagree with that. I just remember them saying that. I'm like, okay.
Ma'am, in what world? Okay.
True Colors.
Yeah, I guess True Colors. What was Cyndi doing by the time 93 came around? Hat Full of Stars?
Who was Cyndi?
Oh wow, Hat Full of Stars.
Who was she in 93?
Well, I love her Sisters of Avalon album she came out with in 96.
Oh, yeah. I heard about that one.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
Look, she probably was releasing her 18th version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
She was. Actually, she was. Hey now, hey now. That one
That was on the greatest hits. That was on the greatest hits.
Wasn't that 94
well,
though?
Deadly Sins. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Or 95?
I think it was
She did a reggae
95 with
version of
Tuwang
it.
Fu, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was her like 12th version of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Okay,
Exactly.
back to Madonna.
Please, ma'am, stop. Okay. Serve me more I Drove All Night and not
Oh,
another
yeah.
Girl Just Want to Have Fun, please.
I Drove All Night is a great song.
Oh, I love her. Her vocals are great on it, especially with what she was going through at that time.
So, Rain. I don't have much to say about it. I love it. Beautiful
classic.
ballad.
Classic.
Very classic.
I remember.
I just don't like the. You see how beautiful the video was? I just don't like the album cover to it for the CD artwork. It
You don't
just
like
looks
it?
dull. They didn't make her
Beautiful?
look beautiful.
This one?
No, not that one. The other one, the black version.
Oh, okay, yeah. I do remember my first job was at a berry stand. And I worked with this girl. We're like a side by the road berry stand. It was the summer after my senior year. And she was going to have sex with like the farm workers up in the loft. So I was getting pissed because we were getting paid the same thing and she was all fucking like half the shift. And I was just sitting there, and that's when Rain was on the radio, like the radio remix that they released that summer and charted. So all I remember is she's up there fucking, and I'm listening to Rain and I'll Never Get Over You Getting Over Me expose was that summer also.
I come through expose.
Sorry.
So thanks for letting me share my memories around the erotica.
Yes.
Beloved memories. I just remember she's like,
Rain.
I'll be right back. I have to put my diaphragm in. I'm like, oh, bitch.
Of course she did. She needed help, didn't she?
She's still on my face. All these people are on my Facebook, so they're watching this podcast. Tag yourself
If you dare.
if you do. Does anyone else have anything to say about Rain? I am from
peak
that-
number 13. It was, after Bad Girl flopped. Well, it peaked at 36, but still it was a flop compared to where she'd been doing. In 2000, Razor and Guido came out with a remix of Rain, and I lived for it. Thought it was really good. Check it out.
And
Is
to
it on
close,
YouTube?
Yes.
Is it on
Yes,
YouTube?
is. Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna look for it right now.
to close this portion of the discussion, I will say it was a Militello berry farm on Route 39.
Ma'am, you need to stop.
But I will not say the name of the girl that I worked with. I will not say that. Okay. Why is it so hard?
Because that's what happens when you excite me.
I was gonna say it's better that it's not flaccid.
And when I saw that the album, when I saw the title of the song, I'm like, oh, what's this going to be about? And then, of course, it's a song about equality and just talking about brothers and sisters again, just like
It's like, girl, it's
put
just-
together.
it's a preachy song. It's one of her preachy songs.
I didn't like the guy's voice because he's like, like he's just down there. But I like the live version with Nikki and Donna adding some harmonies. I thought it was haunting and beautiful. And actually, this song has grown on me. It wasn't one of my favorites at the time, but as fucked up as society is, and we're in 2022 with so much oppression and hate still, this song is ringing a bell and scratching my itch a little bit more than it did at the time it came out. Any other thoughts on why is it so hard?
She could sing it live. That would be awesome if she did. Or Bad Girl.
It was great in the girly show.
I like
it. It was a good transition in the girly show. It's okay. It's not bad. It's just okay for me.
What would you say? It's like,
it's the worst. You know what I mean?
is it reggae light? Like, what kind of music would you say this is?
It could be. It could be like her songs that are like for me. I just like. I'm not a fan of her preachy songs where she wants everything perfect and this is like, this is how life should be, blah 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 blah.
Is
Like
this the-
revolution and all that kind of shit.
Is this the Love Makes the World Go Round of the album?
Ay, no puedo. No, I'm not gonna insult, because the thing is, I'll listen to the song and I'll jam to it. Like today, I jammed to it today. I was like, yes, brother, sister. I was like, yes, bitch. But it's okay. It's average.
I'll go with that.
I do think that it's interesting that like the microscope of this album, like as you listen to the album, it goes further and further inside, and now she's starting to zoom out and kind of look at a more universal scope. And I guess into the next song is In This Life, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Which is the song about her friends that died of HIV. I will say that this was never one of my favorite songs, but I think the message behind it is good. And one of the things that Ann Fearman said on the first podcast that did stick with me, she's like, the last thing I need to hear is how sad a woman is about her friends dying. And that did stick with me a little bit, to think of it from that point of view.
I don't know that I agree with that. Was she saying that she didn't want to know, she didn't want to hear from a woman about her being sad that
I
her
felt
friend-
Madonna was making a little bit about her own sadness and herself, when the real tragedy is the death of her friends, which I can't argue
But
with that.
the thing is, like, I don't see it like that.
Okay.
I
I've
don't
never
see
seen it like that.
I don't
Like,
see it like that either.
you hear the song and you think of Martin and you think of
Right. Christopher.
So you think of them. You don't think of Madonna. She's telling you when it came to Martin, the shit that she went through when he passed.
Yeah, and she really did go through a lot.
When she comes to talk about Christopher, it's about what he meant to her, what he represented to her.
Right.
So like I was like, girl, side eye with the quickness.
I mean, like, and also let's think about, like, this is what, 1992? Like,
Mhm.
we're talking about AIDS. Like, this is not a time when people were just like even though AIDS was like in common vernacular with straight people, like this, we were not in an era where like we are now, right?
No.
Like she
And we still wouldn't be for a while, Sharon. I don't feel like.
No.
She was a conventional pop like superstar, singing about it in very frank terms, singing about how important, like she was basically talking about it like in, bringing attention to it at a time when like it just wasn't talked about in as openly as it is now.
I remember going for HIV testing in even like 2004 and being terrified that someone would see me there, that I had to wait 2 weeks. Like even 10, 15 years after this album, things still weren't where they are now. So I have something to say, but I'm going to wait till everyone talks about what they have on the song first, because I have a little something else I want to bring up. Go ahead, David. Looks like you're ready to jump in.
Oh no, it's fine. I'll wait for you.
No, go ahead. I'm going to say.
So my thing is also, when I hear the song and the lyrics, I also think there was a time, especially in the early 90s, where if you weren't rich, you weren't getting the drugs that would save your life.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I hear in those lyrics who determines who goes next, who goes, who gets picked. So for me, that's what I see, because for Madonna to go drug mule her ass to Mexico to bring drugs to help.
Am I still there? I think it froze for a second. Are you guys still there?
Nope.
No, you're still there.
You're there.
Everyone's still there. So what I was going to bring up is on Twitter, someone recently posted that people need to remember how Madonna was one of the first pop stars to really stick her neck out about AIDS. And
So
all the
this
people
is-
were getting...
I saw that too. This is
Okay.
what was related to, she came out with the TikTok where they were making fun of her face. where the TikTok, if I don't make it in, I'm gay. So
Right.
then she didn't make it in and she's gay. And I'm like laughing because it's whatever, But people, they were gay, young gays saying, oh, we don't want her in the gay community. And that's when people had to clock those baby gays.
But then people were saying like, well, Elizabeth Taylor did and Princess Diana. And then some people were saying that Cyndi Lauper and Annie Lennox were. So this is my memory. And those who were there, tell me if you agree. When I was 17, I didn't care about Elizabeth Taylor or Princess Diana. Like they just were not people I cared about. You know what I mean? They weren't a peer. Like Madonna was like someone for our generation. And I don't remember Cyndi putting on her pride flag till a couple of years later. And I don't remember Annie Lennox really talking about HIV till the 2000s. And maybe they did, but it didn't reach where I was in 1992. The only person reaching that message was Madonna. Do you guys remember, and just in your memory, Cyndi or Annie or Elizabeth Taylor?
Look, I will always like Elizabeth Taylor is that top bitch when
Right.
it came to AIDS.
Sure.
Always that top bitch. And even I knew it. And I
Okay.
was like 12, 13. But nobody has done better than Madonna other than Elizabeth Taylor.
I'll throw out one other name actually on AIDS, Sharon Stone.
Oh,
Okay.
I see that. And
She
at that
actually
time,
did
she
a
used
huge-
her.
She did a huge amount of work for Amphar, but
And of course, it's not a contest of who did the most. Like, and of course, anything's helpful. But I just remember Madonna giving us messages that no one else was giving us.
No.
I don't remember Cyndi Lauper putting on that pride thing to
Now,
Priscilla.
remember, we also think that Live to Tell is about AIDS.
Hmm.
So, like, she was sending a message back then, and she had been talking about it since the mid 80s. So it's like,
And then the little thing she even put in the Like a Prayer release,
exactly.
The little. Mhm.
I don't think anyone else was doing it. Of course, in the pop world, not to take a look. I know Elizabeth did a lot, but and Princess Diana.
In the pop world, you're
But in the
absolutely
pop-
right, because nobody wanted to talk about it. That's the thing.
And no
Everybody was
disrespect to Annie or Cyndi. Like I love those two and they did a lot. I know they've done a lot, but I just don't remember hearing their voices at that time in my life.
No, because the thing is, nobody used their voice at that time other than Madonna. Nobody spoke about it. Nobody spoke about gays. Nobody spoke about AIDS. Nobody spoke about women. Nobody did that. And she did it.
As much as I love Cyndi, I feel like, once she got that pride cape, like she never took it off. Like she just kind of then almost pandered to it. And Madonna never did that either till much later, I guess. I don't know.
She's allowed to pander. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, I
She's
guess
allowed
so.
to pander, and she doesn't really pander. That's the thing. Like, she doesn't. Like, I don't see it like that.
Who,
I can
Madonna or
understand
Cyndi?
some other people, like some people who are just seeing her cuckoo for Cocoa Puff persona that she's serving now. But the thing is, to me, it's like, no, nothing. Like, she's been the most vocal. And that's it. And the thing
Madonna,
is,
you're
what I
talking
like
about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
She's been the most vocal. But the great thing is that she also let other people say, hey, she says it, I feel it, and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Because started, Janet Jackson, another person that is really big in the gay community and did songs for AIDS and done charity and stuff like that too.
But
So
later,
it's
though,
like,
right? A little bit later.
Yeah, a little bit later, but at that time,
But she
right,
did.
but at that time, nobody was bigger than Janet and Madonna. You know
Was
what I mean?
Together
You
Again
had the
about
two-
HIV?
Huh?
Wasn't Together Again about her friends that died of?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah,
And
definitely.
It sounds like I'm dragging Cyndi. I don't want to do that.
It's not about dragging Cyndi.
I love Cyndi
I don't think
Lauper.
it's about dragging Cyndi, but the thing is, like, you have, like, I hate that it is a competition, and I'm so bitter sometimes, but it's like all these people, Madonna has had haters for 40 years, and I'm always fighting them. So it's always the thing of like, no, because Cyndi has done more for the gay community than Madonna, and I hear shit like that, and I'm like, ma'am, who are you? How old are you? Where were you? Like, I'll understand if somebody was my age group and made that comment, because you know what? Because maybe that's what they saw. But I'm not telling nobody who was in their dad's nutsack to tell
Let me
me
just say,
differently.
to put it into perspective, and once again, I even love Cyndi Lauper enough that I'll do a Phonogenics series on her albums. I love her albums.
It'll be a quick series.
Well, she had like 6 or 7 albums, right?
Yeah, she did.
But, you know, Cindy put on the rainbow crown and did the pride parades. But Madonna had 2 men
because the
kissing in her
gays,
movie.
they flocked to True Color. The gays after the 90s, they flocked to True Colors and saw it as a gay anthem.
Right,
But
which
back
is
then,
good.
it wasn't a gay anthem.
But in contrast, Madonna wasn't wearing pride colors. She had 2 men making out in her movie.
Correct.
Like, you know, she had gay dancers being authentically who they were that we could relate to.
On stage,
Yeah.
she had gay dancers in the Express Yourself Deeper and Deeper performance.
So, you know, Madonna didn't speak to the gay community. She lived inside of it and became part of it. And,
You know, like, you know, the gays will grasp to any strong woman, any female pop star, and they've been doing it since the days of, you know, Cher. So it's like, but somebody who actually went up for bat for the gay people.
yeah.
Because, like, girl, like Diana Ross having a meltdown because she didn't want to sing I'm Coming Out.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was scared. Although the majority of her fans at that time were the gay ones.
Right.
Stop. So it was just like,
And even like the Donna Summer rumors where she, you know,
they
I
ruined
love-
that poor woman.
I love
rumors
Miss
were
Donna,
ugly.
and I don't think she ever said that stuff. I don't.
think so either.
I love
don't think
Donna, and I will do a podcast of her 24 fucking albums. I love every
and I
Donna
will,
Summer.
and I will join you with that but the thing is that took a toll and it insulted, you know, the community, and it really sucked because she's another person who came from the community.
Yeah.
She was like, the gays knew her before she was the queen of disco. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it was like she was part of the community, and those rumors were the worst. And the thing is, it's like there was no proof, and there was then like, you know, social media can be the devil sometimes. But if somebody says a lie, somebody will pop out the receipts and like, that's not right. And at that time, there was no receipts to be popped.
There was no receipts. Nope. So I guess the reason I'm going in this tangent is I want to publicly say how important this album was and everything surrounding it. Because now, I don't know if I said this on a podcast, but this is what being gay meant to me in 1992. I thought that I had a hormone imbalance, that once I had enough money to go to the doctor after I graduated, I could get a shot and be normal. So I just thought that the feelings would go away. And I believed that till I was 19, you guys. Like, that's how uneducated we were when I was playing. When I was playing this album, I thought I could get a shot and be normal. And I just thought, I'm getting a little emotional. But I thought I dated women, I fantasized about men, and I never thought that they could be the same thing. I just always looked at it as 2 different sides of the highway that would never intersect. Till a few years later, I'm like, oh, so the person you love can be the same person you have sex with. So that's how fucked up we were in 92. So Madonna, we're so protective of this bitch because she gave us the one glimmer of hope and safe space. There wasn't really many safe spaces for us back then. I remember going to the club, running from my car to the front door because people would shoot at you. They would drive by and shoot at you if you're running into a gay club in Jamestown, New York, 1992.
That's horrible.
So sorry to get all personal, but this album's so tied to my history. And I'm so passionate about it. That's why we had to do another podcast.
The thing is, we lived that album.
Right.
We lived that album. So we're going to talk about the shit that was around us when this album was out. Like,
now,
like the other people who weren't around that time, they just have to hear the lyrics and then they have to give what they feel about the lyrics, which is great. Or any times, I was at this retro bar and they played it and just everybody got crazy. No, we lived that. So it's not saying that our opinions are better, but it's just that's, when you hear a song, it'll take you right back. And what did you do at that moment? So that's what this album is. It's really good. 92, 93, 94. Like, let me tell you, the musical scene had just moved on. Like, there was no heavy metal was out.
Yeah.
Pop music was out.
Yep.
Like, you needed to be the R&B, hip hop, or alternative, which was honestly, for me, it was great. Yeah. Like, it was like, pop had just saturated completely the system. And like, if you were in a different genre that wasn't pop, you barely got played, even if you were a classic. So like the 90s ushered in, there's just so much great genre music in that 90s. And she was like, no, I see it coming and I need to move. I need to pivot. Or because I need to keep going. You know, at that time it was like, you know, she and Whitney were the biggest female acts from the 80s coming in. Janet, you know, she started off in the 80s, but it was toward the mid 80s and late 80s that, you know, she started becoming big, but she wasn't one of the big women. Because that's the thing. You become big in one decade and you're supposed to be like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm out. You know, I'll have a couple of good years at the beginning of the decade and that's it. But, you know, Madonna and Whitney showed that you can continue showing. And this album, honestly, is very critical for her career because it's coming off of Like a Prayer. So Like a Prayer was her 4-star album. You know, the lyrics were great. So she served lyrics, but it got all confused with the sex that was there. The book, the movie, the video for Erotica, and it was just like sex. But people didn't sit down and actually listen to the music.
Right.
That's why nowadays it's like, I don't know if this will happen in American life, but you know, 20 years after the album came out, 10 years after Erotica came out, people were already like saying, you know what, we were wrong. This album is pretty good. Like right now, and they were getting good reviews, but it was all about the sex back then. So everybody trashed the album. But now you listen back to it and you're like, wait, there's message in here. There's great lyrical content. There's great beats on here. That's why today its anniversary is good too.
30 years ago, I walked into Record Giant and met my friend Shauna Reinholz, who's still my friend. She's on my Facebook, and I'm doing her wedding next year. But I met her in line. I'm like, "You're buying Erotica?" She's like, "Yeah, so am I." So I made a friend in the checkout line that I'm still friends with today. And you know, every story I've told, the person by my side was Ann Fearman from the first podcast. And, you know, just because she was by my side for the album doesn't mean she shouldn't talk about it on the podcast. She sure didn't want to hear that shit back then, and she still doesn't want to.
A mess.
Well, any other thoughts on In This Life?
It makes me cry.
Yeah.
It makes everybody cry. It's just like let me tell you, like, oh Lord, these AIDS songs were so depressing back then. Like,
Wasn't it based on a classical composition?
I think so.
The chord progression, yeah.
But I was like, I had this song which pulled at my heart. There was the song by Elton John around the same time as well, and that was another one that was just like back then it was like, it was real scary. It was a real scary time. Anybody was mentioned, movies that even spoke about AIDS were like everybody dropped dead, and you're like, oh my God. It was like I think she talked to us and told us it's okay to have sex, just be protected.
Be protected.
Because, and for us it was like, you know, I'm a 15-year-old boy. I want to mess around, but I'm scared. Like I'm scared. What if I get the AIDS? You know, I'm dead. I will die.
And I really felt almost every time I had sex, like, oh my God, I think I caught it this time. Because I remember 2004, I had the back of my tongue was white, and I was just looking in the mirror constantly. I saw these white bumps back there, so I'm like, I have to rush. I've got it this time. So I went to the doctor. I paid $100 because I didn't have insurance, and she goes, baby, those are just your taste buds back there. But I was so paranoid. We were so afraid. We were afraid all the time. And there just wasn't an information. There wasn't good medication back then. So I don't think people realize, the young people, just how scary it was even in 2004. And then 94. Then 84. Did you guys watch It's a Sin? That
Please, no, I don't want to cry. I watched it with Jeffrey too.
Jeff. That was such a gorgeous.
Oh God, that's what it is. It's just like, oh my God, like
Sharon and Eric. Did you guys watch that?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Oh my God, it's a mini series about kids coming of age that were basically like us. Like it was you and Jeffrey, it was me and Ann, it was David and who was your friend?
Was this on HBO or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, it's based
It's-
around "It's a Sin."
It's
Pet Shop
a
Boys song.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a Pet Shop Boys song, a classic Pet Shop Boys song.
Yep.
It's a movie that is centered in the early 80s, group of friends, gay friends, and how AIDS comes into the picture
Yeah.
and destroys
Yeah, I
them.
remember in 1992 HBO did that movie as the bands played on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
I remember
another
I didn't know what
movie.
that was until years later. There's a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
things I didn't get back then at a young age, but I know what they are now.
I watched it when it came out. I remember
Yeah,
that
so
was,
did I.
You can
too.
watch it on
I was-
YouTube. It's still there.
yeah. Well,
It-
it's funny because when Jeffrey and I were in high school, it came out, and then also Honest and Maupin's Tales of the City. And Jeffrey and I like very religiously watched both of those, like both In the Band Plays On and Tales of the City. Tales of the City came out on PBS, and
Oh my
this-
God, I have a story for that too.
okay,
I was scared because if I watched anything gay, they would say I was gay. So I
Well-
literally watched Tales of the City with my blanket over the TV because I knew that it was going to impact. And it was on PBS, at 11 o'clock at night, but I was there watching it religiously.
Jeffrey would come over to. It's funny. I wish you were here because I would love to ask him about this. He came over to my house to watch it. Because PBS was like a big thing in my house, so we watched it at my house together. And nobody, like my mom never never had a question.
Aw.
Because it was PBS.
Because it was yeah, she never had any questions. And there's all sorts of shit in there, like they're doing drugs. Like my mom never had any problems. She was like, "This is great. It's PBS." It's
And the world got the introduction to Laura Linney. Oh, good
I
times.
know.
Oh, look, I was like, every time, I kid you not, every time I see her, I think of Tales of the City. I cannot not think of it. Like, so iconic. Her and Olympia Dukakis, that's all I remember.
Well, Sharon, you have to watch "It's a Sin." I really think it will speak to you.
I intend to.
I think we were all one of the characters in that in one way or another. Okay, we have one song left, and then we've revisited Erotica. Sharon, we've made it to Secret Garden. We're not even going to talk about that mess called "Did You Do It?" We're not even going to go there. We're not even going to go there. You know what? In fact, I do have the version with the parental advisory that has "Did You Do It?" But I bought the one without, so I didn't have to get up and skip that shit. It's not on there. The album ends with another Andre Betts produced track called "Secret Garden." A rose without a thorn, a heart that cannot harden.
Yep.
What do you guys think of the song? Is the closing track of Erotica?
It's different.
Well, that's a ringing endorsement.
It's different.
It's sure different.
But do you remember in 1992? Well, I was a kid. They had that movie Secret Garden.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like the song that went with the movie at the time, back in Secret Garden.
I love this song. I think it's a great album closer. I think it's artsy. It's very, I want to say damp, but not in a sexual way. It just feels like a spring, like springtime, the rain. You're cleansed after going through the storm or whatever. It almost does feel like a rebirth in a way. What did you all think of this one?
I love the beat.
Great beat.
It's so different. Like it sticks out in a good way.
Mhm.
It's a good album closer. She has really good album closers.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
It's insane.
Yeah. Love Makes the World Go Round is not it, but she really has some good album closers, and this one is up there.
Yeah. Sharon, what do you think of Secret Garden, other than being glad that the album was over?
Well, upon reflection, I actually like this track a lot. But it's kind of like have to be in the right headspace for it, right?
Sure.
Like it's not like I don't think on that day in 1992 or whatever day. Well, at that point it was probably more like 93. But I don't know if I don't know if I was in the right headspace on that day, but I think it's a great song. I think that it is emblematic of the type of album closers that she kind of does, which is like, it's a little avant-garde, it's a little, like it's a little abstract, it's a little artsy, kind of like her like signature way of ending an album. Like she wasn't going to end it on a depressing downer note. She was going to end it on kind of like an arty, abstract, like ephemeral note. So
yeah. What is Fountain Blue? Somewhere in Fountain Blue lies my secret garden. Does anyone know?
Isn't that a place in France?
It is? Okay.
Is it the Fountain Blue Hotel in Miami Beach?
Could be
Who
that.
knows?
Could be both.
Isn't Erotica the longest album that she has, like over 70 minutes?
Yeah.
Do you remember when you used to put the CD inside the CD player? It would tell you how long the length of the album would be.
MDNA is not longer?
I was hoping that we would get a box set or something for the anniversary, or bonus track, something.
All we got was a picture disc with
I think
songs.
it's coming. They're gonna,
I
they're gonna
feel
remaster
it.
everything. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get You Thrill Me and Shame and You Are the One.
Oh, you
and
didn't go
Up
to
and
the store
Down.
today, did you? You didn't go to the Madonna.com today, did you?
I thought it. I went and I looked at the merch. I was like, oh, okay, let me look at this merch.
It's expensive.
It
Is it good?
is. I'm like, damn her.
What is it?
$150 for 3 autographs.
Oh, I don't need all that.
$95 for the Erotica blanket. Who is buying that for me? Please, I want it. In my
That
life.
blanket would have to be washed a lot.
It would.
Oh,
It'd be very dirty and sticky.
I'll take the Ray of Light blanket. Thank you very much.
No, I think I may get it because it's so good. I love that picture of her long blonde hair from Erotica. I'm like,
Yeah.
Well, this doesn't have to do with anything, but I remember I was outed by a friend to my mother in 1999. I think I was 15 or 16. At the time I had highlighted hair. It was blonde. My mom spent $200 on color contacts for me. And when she found out, she cut my hair. She took my contacts away from me, and I had Madonna posters all around my room. So she took that away from me. At that time, I was wearing like shiny clothes. She took that away from me. But after 6 months later, she goes, well, I guess she ain't gonna change. So I got all my stuff back. So I was happy with the Madonna posters.
She couldn't take you away from you. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear you went through that.
I mean, I'm sorry that it took you being you for your mom to figure that out, but
Well, you see, my parents were from Honduras. They became citizens when like in the early 70s. So they don't know what gay. They thought a gay person is someone that's flamboyant, and people like to stereotype a lot. And a guy that's very masculine, that can be a gay person. There's different types, but they didn't know that, and they thought that it was in the gene. They goes, well, someone in the family has to be gay. I said, no, Mom, that's not true. So I mean, it took her a very long time, but she accepts me who I am. But it took her like a long time. But she feels like she did something wrong. I said, you didn't do anything wrong. Because like in high school, I just wanted to meet another person that was like me. I knew I was different. I didn't know what gay was, what it was called. I just knew I was different, But I remember we going to the mall. Do you remember when Janet's album came out in 1993?
Yeah.
With the boobs.
Yeah.
I remember going to the mall with my sister, and she goes, "Well, why do you want that?" I said, "Well, I want it because I think she's really beautiful." But then my sister said, "Well, Mom thinks you're gay." Like I was like so embarrassed because I didn't know what to say at the time. But later on, when I was outed by a friend, she put the clues together. So we don't talk about it. I have a partner and we're together. She accepts him. But like it's just my parents are so laid back now. But before, no, that's a no.
So you think Madonna was a companion for you through all this?
Yes, and my mom would say, you spent all your money on that bitch, She was saying that why don't you ask her, you can clean her butt or something. She said you can be her maid or something. Ask her with all the money that you spend with her that you can go work for her.
Aw,
But she made it like in a funny way, not like in a hurtful way.
sure.
Yeah. Like my because of Madonna, I travel because of her, because she came to New Orleans and for the MDA tour, but all the tour dates she did for the Virgin tour, she did those dates again. But I like to go to different cities wherever she travels to, and they all think I'm nuts. Like, I said, well, the U.S. is like a very big place. You can travel to other cities, venture around to see other places. Not they all think I'm nuts, but I like her. I've always been a fan. I'm not gonna go anywhere. I always support her no matter what.
Yeah, we're all gonna stick around, even if we have to talk shit sometimes. We can't help ourselves.
We earned the right to talk shit. That's why when you're Jeff, that's something I don't take it bad, because you know what? He's been there from the beginning. I think, like I truly hate the X fans right now, because they're like, I'm like, if you're not a fan, why do you care what she does? You know what I mean? But at least with Jeffrey and some other people, they'll talk shit, but they're still buying those albums. They're still streaming. They're still going to these concerts. So
they're still waiting in case things get good again.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. So it's like, but like, it is what it is now. It's just like, you love her, you don't, and you, if you don't, you please move on.
Well,
Wait,
so
and I want to say one thing. I love that you do go and travel to all those concerts.
I do too.
I think
That's
it's so
fun.
great because, like, and so many people will like trash that and be like, "Oh, like, don't get a life. Like, you go and you travel and you."
Well. All right. So I will see the same show 3 times or 4 times, but I do everything on a budget. And they were saying, "Well, you must have money." I said, "No, I do everything on a budget. I plan everything ahead. I'll take buses. I'll do whatever I need to do." But for the Madame X tour, it's been a dream of mine always to see her overseas, and I went to London.
Awesome.
I sold a bunch of stuff, and I went to London, but she cut the show in half. That was the bad thing about it.
That's so.
But just to see it from other fans, they've never seen the show before. It makes me happy. It makes me happy just to talk about her, And I have a friend. His mother just passed away, but we talk about Madonna all the time. He'll show me his collection. It makes us happy. It's just like, it'll be awesome if like they had like a Madonna fair where you can meet other fans, a convention or something,
Because she's been by us through so much trauma for all of us. And like,
well, look, I have a DVD that I forgot when it came out, but they used to have a convention in New York. They used to be once a year,
right?
A Madonna convention. But like, I would have been too little to go to that. But I remember. Do you remember the Girly Show book that has the 3 live tracks on it?
Yeah. Yep.
I remember I saved up $40, and I said I'm gonna go buy a book. They were selling it at Camelot. Do you remember Camelot Music?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So the book was $40 when it came out, and I remember my dad goes, "You're not spending no $40 on no book." But I got it years later used on eBay. That's when I found eBay.
Well, Eric, if you need money for one of those trips, find me that Desperately Seeking Susan pin I'm still looking for.
You know what? Let me show you what I just got on eBay.
Oh.
So right now I'm going through the Who's That Girl. I had this tape years ago. I got it years ago, and I think I paid $3 at Walmart. I just paid $8 for this to get it here. But
wonderful.
I like collecting. I mean, when I go to a thrift store, I find something of hers, and no one buys it. I feel bad. I'm gonna go buy it.
Aww.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like we gave Erotica the justice that she deserved. This is such an important album to so many people. And I almost want to have a convention of people whose lives were saved or changed or impacted by Erotica. Because I think that'd be a really interesting group of people. and their friends that hated the album that were forced to listen to it are also allowed to attend this party.
Nice.
So
Only
happy
if you behave.
to behave. Yes, and Fearman.
Don't behave. I like hearing
Yes.
different opinions.
I love.
I was very respectful of Miss Anne, and I like to hear. I always like to hear stuff because, like, you know, like I said, like to me, she's like this god for me, and that's how I see it. And like, but I love hearing other opinions and
Anne's car back then was the bitch wagon. She had a station wagon, and when I wasn't playing Madonna, she was playing fucking Leonard Cohen. So I sat there the whole time it was playing. And I just went. So we bitched each other's music back and forth. It was a very loving time. 1992. Okay, happy 30th anniversary, Erotica. Let's give it our 30th anniversary rating. Scale of 1 to 10. David, you always start things off because you're on the top for once in your life.
I know. I feel so honored finally being a top. A 9.
All right.
A solid 9. Like it's in between 9. I think Madonna has like few albums that are 10s. So, but this is a 9. A hard 9.
All right, Sharon.
9.
9?
Yep.
Eric?
I like a 10 because I like everything. I love all the tracks. I love all the videos. I love the singles. I love the remixes. I mean, at that time I was like really young, and you know, you're just starting to find out who you are as a person, and I liked it so around that time. So I'll give it a 10. Just my opinion.
And I think that I am also going to have to give it a 10 because I think the highway of my life would not have gone the direction it had if this album didn't exist. So when an album changes your life, I just have to give it a 10.
Thanks.
So friends, thank you for meeting this little special episode. I propose that we meet next year and talk through Janet Jackson.
Yes.
It'd be nasty.
Eric, are you a Janet fan? Will you be joining us for
Yeah,
Janet?
I am. I saw her 4 times.
Nice. I've seen her a few times myself. Yes, I can't wait to go down to Dream Street. I am ready.
So is Dream Street and Janet Jackson gonna be one episode, or is it gonna be
Possibly.
because there's not that much to talk about, right? We'll combine those first 2 albums. So let's enjoy the holidays and let's reconvene in January and get nasty with Janet Jackson. But I love y'all. Thank you for letting me go down memory lane, and thank you for Madonna, and also thank God we turned out okay. Like here we are, and I talked about a lot of fucked up things from my past, but we turned out okay, and that's awesome because a lot of people didn't make it this far, and we're here. So much love to y'all. Happy 30th birthday, Erotica, and we will talk soon. Call Colonel Sanders. He said it best.